Welcome to a brand new episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love. I'm your host, Boss, and joining me as always is Musum.
Hello.
We have a more action-packed episode than usual here. We're going to do some highlights of not E3 2025, some of the cool RPG stuff here in the second half of the episode. So let's just dive into it. Musum, what have you been playing this past month?
Okay, so this I've been playing the game Bethesda put out that everyone's been talking about. That's on the seat of their lips.
Mm-hmm.
Morrowind.
Yes,
Um,
naturally.
okay, I had to set up that joke. I have
Yep.
been playing Morrowind, but I've also been playing Oblivion.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and do Morrowind first.
Okay.
I've often said, likely on this podcast and in person, that Morrowind is just too hard to go back to. The controls don't make sense. When you press right on the mouse button, it pulls up your inventory, which is very confusing.
Yep.
So I, for the first time in my life, downloaded it on Game Pass onto my Xbox, and that game makes way more sense on a controller.
Oh yeah, because it came out on the original Xbox, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Right.
This was the like this, this saved Bethesda. Like Bethesda was going to
Yeah.
go under if this game didn't do well. They had lost most of their staff that worked on Elder Scrolls 1 and 2. And this insane game was their Hail Mary,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting that when you're worried about your company going out of business, that's when you do like the really crazy stuff in your game, and they've just honestly played it safe
Oh,
since
okay.
Morrowind in the Elder Scrolls universe. So Elder Scrolls, so Morrowind, if anyone in our audience is somehow not familiar, takes place in the Dark Elf portion of Tamriel, um, and it's kind of a fun thing to do that also makes you go, well, I wonder what they're really doing. Just looking back at the first game, Arena, and looking at that map where it's not shaped like the United States, but it is kind of a big square-ish kind of
Oh, okay.
landmass. Um, with every game, that landmass becomes less of that. Like so,
Mm.
Morrowind is like this island off in the corner. That is maybe it was an island in Arena, but I feel like it was not. Um, but anyway, so Morrowind it's still kind of a hard game to go back to. It's way harder than Oblivion or Skyrim. You start out like basically not good at anything. When you swing your sword, it's a basically a dice roll. It's not a whether you actually action wise hit the enemy. So you're
Oh,
gonna
okay.
miss half to three-fourths of your attacks. Um, you have to you have a button to equip to activate your sword, and then you have a button to activate spell hands.
Mm.
Um, so you got to kind of flip back and forth with those. Your mana doesn't regenerate, which you have to sleep for your mana to come back or take a
Oh, okay.
potion. So that's kind of a pain to grind spells. I think there's a birth sign you can take that will get you some regeneration there. Um, so to me the really there's a lot of really cool things I love about more just um, won't fly for most modern game people, but
Mm.
at the time it was cool, and even revisiting it, it is a little annoying, but it's cool. So one is there's no fast travel.
Oh, okay.
The only way to fast travel is certain cities have what they call silt striders, which are these giant bug things that they're basically like a city bus that goes between
Oh, that's
cities.
fun.
Um, so you can pay to use those. Some of the guilds, so like the Mages Guild has a teleporter. So if you join the Mages Guild, you can teleport between the different Mages Guilds around
Oh, okay.
Morrowind. And then certain port cities will have boats that you can hire to move you between the port cities.
Okay. So it's not not that there isn't nothing, but it's just kind of more
Yeah.
in-universe stuff.
Yes, but
Hmm.
you're gonna like, Oblivion or Skyrim, you just press a button, you click on the map where you want to go. Here, you're going to spend probably 5 minutes walking to one of these places
Hmm.
because everything's pretty spread out before you can get there. Um, the I'm not very far into this. Like I was playing it, and it's so grindy because you just aren't good at anything, and like the way I built my class. So this you kind of build your class similar to the way you do in Oblivion, um, where your primary skills are the things that are going to be more leveled up, and they're going to determine when you level up.
Hmm.
Um, and then you'll have like a I can't remember, they don't call them primary and secondary, but it's something like that. Primary, secondary, and minor. And they kind of function similarly to Oblivion in that aspect. But on Morrowind, more so, anything you want to be decent at the beginning of the game, you take
Oh,
that
okay.
skill in primary because you are still going like these skills go from like 0 to 100, and even at 50, like you're going to be terrible at that skill,
Oh, okay.
uh, which is around where the primary thing works. But Morrowind is just such an inventive world. Like this is where like the bug armor came. I always in my mind I always say chitlin.
Hmm.
That's probably not the
The
word, but they have,
chitin.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
It
Muso's microphone has decided to start assaulting him in the middle of our
it
recording.
it has. It did not appreciate me mispronouncing that word. My bad. Uh, the it gosh. So they have a lot of the factions will have dueling factions in them. So like you have the Thieves Guild, and then you have the I should have written this down. The Carmen Tong, is that what they're called? Um, I should not be googling this during a podcast. Yeah, Carmana Tong. Oh, Kamana Tong
Mm.
is what they're called. And I don't remember if you can join both or not. I haven't gone that route because I am still very weak, and I joined the Mages Guild and hope that I can get one upped on something. But another example would be is there's the Dark Brotherhood, and then the Morrowind Native Assassins Guild, which is the I was hoping I'd remember what it was called by the end of that sentence. um, anyway, the I've never done the. I honestly I haven't done most of the faction quests in this because if I remember right, a lot of them, if you join one, you can't join the other. When I first played it, I thought, well,
Right.
I'm not joining the native one. Why would I join the imperial one?
Right.
Um, the one of the other tricky parts about this game is there's no quest tracker.
Aha.
Um, you get a journal. It writes down when people tell you things, and good luck out of the hundreds of pages in that
Right.
journal finding
Right.
it. Uh, so you're kind of encouraged to immediately do the thing you were just tasked with.
Right.
It's not Skyrim, so they aren't uh, procedurally generating quests to throw at you,
Oh,
so
okay.
to speak. Um, but I still have a lot of love for Morrowind, but it's made me realize that if they ever like tried an Oblivion style remaster on it, I would want them to do more of a remake,
Right.
and get a lot of modern things in it. And there's some things they probably just can't update. Like the dialogue system is mostly text based, and it's very keyword based. So someone will tell you something, highlighted words on the right that are keywords you could then ask them about.
Mm.
Uh, it Man, it is funny because you can walk up to a general person and you can ask everyone about their occupation, and they'll be
Hmm.
like, "I am a commoner." It's like
Thanks, buddy.
they, would they really be calling themselves a commoner?
Right.
um, just funny stuff like that. But oh, and this is also I don't know how many people know this. So like before Oblivion, all the Elder Scrolls games, your equipment would go like you'd have separate a right glove and a left glove to
Oh,
equip,
jeez. Okay.
and a right pauldron and left
Oh,
pauldron,
wow.
and yeah, it's getting a complete set of armor or something. But
Yeah.
um, anyway, I may off and on continue playing this. I don't know. Or I may have gotten my fill of nostalgia already. Like
Right.
what I wanted to do was go to Vivek, which is the city that's really annoying to walk around, but it's a really cool city because they have a living god somewhere in it. I always forget where he is. I
Oh,
haven't
wow.
found him yet, but it's also a city that makes me think of like Dune,
Mm-hmm.
um, which definitely this game has some Dune vibes at time, but there's no Muad'Dib or anything running around.
Right.
Although you do kind of get to be a savior, like
Mm.
the Nezarene or Neverine, whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But anywho, I I still love this game. I would love to see it modernized, but I'm not entirely sure how they do that without an extensive amount of work.
Right.
And you're just gonna make some people mad with that. But
Yeah.
I think if anyone wants to ever try it, Xbox is the way to go. You should probably look up an FAQ on making a character. Don't
Right.
accidentally just put some skills that you're going to regret in your primary and stuff.
Yeah.
And you should expect to find ways to grind really simple skills. Like, for instance, I spent more time than I would like to admit climbing to the top of the stairs and jumping off them to increase my athletic skill.
Ah, that's a classic.
Yeah. Well, that's the other weird thing about this game. So, right, Skyrim got rid of all the of like the physical attributes like intelligence, speed, and strength, and all that.
Right.
Um, in this game, and all the Elder Scrolls before it, like speed determines how fast you move, and you can
Mm.
move super fast at the beginning. So, like, I think it's the Argonians have a really like they get so many benefits in my opinion. Like they are like immune to poison, they can breathe underwater, and they get like +10 to speed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I never do it though. I don't know what I have against being a lizard person. So anyway, on to the Oblivion remake. So I've put a lot of time into this game. It is reaching a point where it may just be too glitchy for me to play.
Oh.
Um, just Well, I mean, it's the original Oblivion game. They just put an Unreal 4 icing over it, effectively.
Mm-hmm.
In the original Oblivion game, the more you leveled up, the more likely things were to go wrong. And you recovering your game was dependent on you finding a save file that was back far enough to where this glitch wouldn't happen. So, like, my recent glitch that made me think, oh, this might be over for me, is one of the Dark Brotherhood missions. You have to kill this guy who is retired, and he is... The best time to kill him is when he's swimming in the pool. He only has one bodyguard there, and you have an arrow that'll kill him with one hit, so long as he doesn't have his armor off, which, honestly, probably kill any regular human in the game in one hit if they didn't have any armor. But
Right.
besides the point. So I'm invisible, I'm in stealth, I shoot him. The guard activates. He doesn't see me. I cast invisible again. And then when I start moving, he sees me. And then all the guards sees me, even though I'm invisible. It
Oh,
doesn't
jeez.
matter where I go. Like, I even went so far as to, like, travel, hide, wait, and then go pay off, like, the Thieves Guild to get rid of my bounty.
Mm-hmm.
And it was still glitching out on me.
Oh,
So,
jeez.
I had to go back to before I killed him, and luckily, there's a... I kind of just found a different spot to shoot him at, ultimately.
Oh, okay.
Even though it was like, well, they couldn't see me over there. Why does this new spot where they still can't see me make a difference?
Right. Why is it a better hidden spot than the other hidden spot?
Yeah. But after Morrowind, Oblivion is ridiculously easy. Like, it is... It's probably the easiest of the Elder Scrolls game, honestly. By around level 20 something, like the there will be very little challenge in the game. Like you might die occasionally, but it's gonna be just because you were like you'll die and you'll be like, okay, that makes sense.
Right, I
Like
deserved that one.
I probably shouldn't have just casually walked through the dungeon and stopped caring about people hitting me or something like
Right.
that, you know. Uh, but it's man, it's such a neat game, and I wish they would add mod support to consoles. Um, I realize that's probably like money and labor hours spent to make it work since they really didn't update the old game. But
Hmm.
if they aren't going to fix the glitches in the old game in the remaster, then they should at least make the avenue for the community to provide those solutions.
Right.
Um, and you know, it's only been out a couple months, so you know maybe that'll happen. But I
Yeah.
think I've read that they've kind of said no already. But
Mm.
um, it's also, man, Oblivion is so weird because they have so much personality and story in their NPCs that is super easy to glaze over.
Okay.
Because it's really easy just to cast the clairvoyance, which gives you the the idiot line to your quest, and skip all the dialogue and do stuff. But occasionally you'll talk to someone like for instance, Count. I wrote this example down. Count Regulus of Brazil,
Okay.
who just like I can't remember. I didn't write down why you had to go, but when you go up to him, he's like, "Why are you?" Like he's literally goes, "Why are you talking to me? Isn't someone else around that could help you with this? This is beneath me."
Oh boy.
He is such a jerk. But if you just skip his dialogue, like you really don't have to interact with him much. He's just kind of quest beat, you know. Um, it's just funny how that works. But so I beat the Thieves Guild quest, right?
Mm.
Which is all kind of centered around the Gray Fox, the current leader of the Thieves Guild, and um, yeah, the Gray Fox is still. I really dislike that character. he is so he is so white bread. His
Mm.
infamous leader of the Thieves Guild, and all the other members of the it's like it feels like having Dudley Do Right in charge
Right.
of the Thieves Guild, which you know is its own flavor of comedy. But let's see, I still have not activated the quest for the Oblivion Gates because they're really annoying, but I'm now considering it.
Mm.
So I may do that soon. I don't know that I've ever actually seen the whole thing through. Like you get to a point in the main quest where they're like, you have to get all the cities to sign off on something. For each city, you got to go close X amount of Oblivion gates for
Oh
them to get
boy.
them to sign off. And you know, each Oblivion gates, like they aren't short.
Hmm.
Like they're 20 to 30 minutes. You don't really know where you're going in them. You're hoping to find the right like in each Oblivion gate, there's a tower that you get to the top, and you click on a thing, and it closes the Oblivion gate and ejects you from there. But there are multiple towers in most of them, and it's not always clear how to get into a tower. It's just
A pain.
really is, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not great. Um, I can't remember if I talked about this last time, but I watched a 30-second video on a lock-picking trick for Oblivion that kind of blew my mind. It made me realize, one, I never understood how lock-picking worked, and two, you can max out your lock-picking stat in like 10 minutes.
Oh wow.
Um, like, the way lock-picking works is you have five
Tumblers?
tumblers. Hey, thank you.
Okay.
I feel like that's a miracle. I don't. Have you ever played Oblivion?
I don't think so.
Okay, then I will take that as a miracle.
All right.
Because they didn't have those in Skyrim. Yeah, because Skyrim had
The two
the
picks
key
that
for
you're
lock.
angling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So the tumblers, like you can have up to five of them activated, and it turns out, like you press a button and you take your little lock picking tool and it hits the tumbler up, and then you got to click it again to lock it in place at the right time. And
Okay.
it turns out you can just hold up, and your guy will just continually do the lock picking motion, And
Mm.
the tumbler just kind of stays up there, and then you just got to kind of time when your lockpick is up at the right place and click the button, and it will solve it.
Oh, wow.
And it makes the lockpicking super easy. And then it also turns out there is, I assume it is a glitch. Uh, any tumbler that you've already like done in the set of 5, you can just continually hit the lockpick button on, and it counts as an attempt, and therefore levels up your lockpicking
Oh,
stat.
wow. Okay.
So if you have the patience just to sit there and hit that button for 10 minutes, or
Right.
you know, do a couple 1-minute rounds, then you will level that up. Granted, leveling up your lockpicking to a 100 at the start of the game is probably immediately going to level you up to 10 or 15, like level
Oh,
10 or
geez. Okay.
15 or something like that.
Tons of benefits.
Yeah. But if you level up that quick and you don't have the gear to match, you might be in trouble. So just
Oh, I see.
be wary. Like, with the enemies leveling up with you, it can be sticky at the beginning, but again, once you level 20, or if you even, honestly, like, if you do the locky picking trick and level up 10 levels or 15, however many gets you, and just manage to kill one enemy, just probably their set of equipment will get you through whatever you need.
Ah, okay.
Um, but I really wish the Elder Scrolls game would get away from enemies leveling up with you. But
Yeah.
anyway, side tangent. I think that's mostly what I have to say about this. Like, I'm a decent ways through the Mages Guild. I'm a decent way through the Dark Brotherhood. I finished the Thieves Guild. I was about to finish Knights of the Nine, but Knights of the Nine does a really annoying thing where you have to have 0 infamy to wear the armor that you need to complete the quest,
Oh, jeez.
and you're always going to have infamy if you're doing Dark Brotherhood and Thieves Guild.
Right.
But I don't know. They do provide a method of setting your infamy back to 0, but it involves visiting 9 shrines that do not get fast travel points on your map. So
Of course.
it's yeah, they aren't marked on your map. There's a bunch of them, like way more the initial map they give you. But all right, and the spell making face glitched for me, and I can no longer make spells that fortify attributes or skills. So that
Great.
really sucks.
Eh,
That
jeez.
is the best part of that. Yeah. But if they'd enabled mods, then I could download a fix for that. And
Yeah,
that would
exactly.
change. So last but not least, I played a bit more Clair Obscura Expedition 33.
Yes.
I just got the last character you can get. Have you been playing this too?
No.
Okay. You're good, man. I haven't. It's a game in a way I like a lot, but I wish it had. At this point, I kind of wish it had no Dark Souls. like, like I had to set it like recently. So okay, so our time between podcasts, like, I played it a bunch maybe the week after the last time we did PUP, and it just got too hard for me. Like, I am not
Mm.
good at predicting the animations. I wish they'd just put more clues as to when things were happening. And I know they're
Yeah.
trying to design the animations in a way to fool us, so we press the button at the wrong time. But, like, I don't like it's too much. Like, give me more tools to be able to predict these things.
Well, and part of my frustration too has been going online, being like, all right, sometimes with enemies when they're about to strike you, there'll be like an animation pause. And I'm like, okay, that makes it a little bit easier. But everybody online is always like, oh, just listen for the sound cues. There's a sound cue. Just listen for the sound. I'm like, I don't hear anything, man. I don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing, bro. So
Yeah,
that's been frustrating.
the sound cues are not great in my opinion because some of them mean you press it the instant after. Some of them mean you still have to wait another second or two
Right.
before you press it. Like, they aren't. To me, they're not slam dunk. So
And on the normal difficulty, the enemies do a considerable amount of damage. So, like,
yeah,
normally, as part of a game like this, you'd take a couple of hits and be like, oh, okay, now I see where I'm supposed to dodge, or now where I'm see where I'm supposed to parry, and the dodging window is really generous. Like, I'm not gonna take that away from the game, um, but I feel like even doing a perfect dodge gets you 1 AP, which is great. But you really want to do the perfect parry to get the incredible amount of damage that they do for those. So, like, it sort of seems, I don't know, maybe like counterintuitive, but you really do
Yeah.
want to do that perfect parry, and the window for that is ridiculously tight.
Yeah. Well, I put it on easy now, and I'm having a much better time.
Yeah, I should probably do
Like,
that just to, like, get through it, because I'm not having fun playing it. And it isn't, look, this isn't me being a contrarian like I can often be, which is like, well, everybody loves this game, so it must be garbage. It's really not that for me. It's a lot of like, this game is fine, like it's a well-made game, but there's just so much in it that's frustrating me.
yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know why I feel so disconnected from a lot of the popular stuff anymore. Because I'm over my kind of contrarian phase in life. But there's so
Hmm.
many things that everyone will just they talk up, and I go play it, and I'm not even trying to downplay it. You know, like the
You're
intro
not
to this game is amazing. You
right.
know,
You're
like
not going into it being like, all right, show me what you got, video game.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't believe you're this good.
that's
Like I
right.
don't. Like I'm here because I think I'm going to love this game. Like specifically
Right.
Expedition 33, I was convinced of that. And the more I play it, the more I feel like they are marrying two things that just don't belong together, and it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
Um,
I will give it a lot
and
of credit. I think one of the things I like the most about this game, I think a lot of the art style stuff I think is really amazing. This kind of surrealist thing. Like the first dungeon you go into is this inexplicably like underwater sea mine dungeon, but you're not really underwater. Just everything looks
yeah,
underwater. And I think that was kind of neat. Um, I think that I think them kind of bucking the trend of having all your party members being exactly the same, but like one person has higher magic stats. Ooh, one person has high HP stats. They're probably a tank. Like, no, man. This dude has like a mechanical magical arm that you're powering up, and then she's collecting stains that you power up other spells. And ooh, this the third person you get, she just has a bunch of different stances, and you depending on what spells and moves you cast move into different stances that allow you to do other spells that move her into other stances. Like each character plays considerably differently, which I think is a pretty big benefit and makes getting additional characters exciting. But it's all, I agree that it's all a little bit at odds for me, in at least in the early kind of like Act 1
yeah.
stuff.
But well, putting it on easy, I still die occasionally.
Hmm.
It makes the parry dodge window larger, so
Okay.
I'm parrying a lot better now, and um, me missing a parry or dodge a couple times does not mean I'm party wiped.
Okay.
Uh,
That's good.
so like I get that I have all the characters now, or at least it just gave me a badge for getting all the characters, so I assume that's true.
Mm.
Um, the like the fourth character or fifth character you get is their whole deal is all of their stuff is based on them never getting hit and you always dodging and parrying. So
Oh boy. Okay.
um, I'm probably never going to use them.
That's the
And
hard mode character.
the last one I just got, and I don't know how useful they're going to be, but they're blue mage.
Oh, okay. I always like a blue mage.
So yeah, I'm excited to see what that. But like in all lady party in this game is killer. It has so many um, like each character has skills that just help the other characters out. So like with
Oh,
Luna,
nice.
I'll cast a spell that will light everyone on fire. Um, and then with I'm not gonna remember their names. It's not even Luna, it's Loon. Um,
What's the second one?
And
Mael? Maya? Something like
I
that?
think Maya, she's the
She's the
little
stance
obscure
one.
type. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she has two indispensable skills. One of them destroys all shields on an enemy, which
Wow. Okay.
during one section of the game you have to have because you have an enemy that literally get like 20 shields if you just leave them
Jesus.
untouched. Um, and then she has another skill that if you hit someone that's on fire, she'll move into virtuous stance. And virtuous stance gives her 200% damage.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
Loon lights everyone on fire. She goes to virtuous stance, and then I use the. I always want to call her the tarot card lady. I don't remember her name. She might be my favorite character actually.
Mm.
But, she is a good breaker. It does a ridiculous amount of damage, but she puts foretell on the enemy.
Mm.
And then all of her skills are based on manipulating that resource, either with light or dark magic.
Interesting.
So it's usually that does that, and then she has a skill where if I hit one enemy that's on, or if I hit an enemy successfully, it applies foretell to them, and then also any enemy that's.
Oh.
So I immediately, third action is basically immediately building up her to do major damage, and from there it's just kind of cleanup because Marielle is going to immediately hopefully kill someone with the virtuous stance and
Right.
uh, but another fascinating thing is whenever you level them up, all the characters get different benefits from the different stats,
Yes.
and some stats will level up multiple stats,
Right.
and it's hard to recognize that. Like Loon has probably the most hit points out of the party, I think, so far.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which I was not expecting, and I didn't realize it for a long time. So I was just concentrating on stats that hit multiple stats.
Yeah.
Um, but then I was like, wait, she has like 10 health and it's this much. This character has 15 health and she's still like higher than him.
Hmm.
I need to pump points into that stat then. And it's
Right.
hard to recognize when that's happened. I wish there was the way the game could point that out to you better, other than
Yeah.
just you looking at one character screen and then being like, oh, this character gets 5 points when they level up attack, and this character only gets one.
Yeah. Agreed.
But I like that aspect of the game more. The Pictus are a little hard to juggle. Those are the oh gosh, how does it work?
They're like
Okay, so
equipable, not like
yeah,
skills, but
no, they're
bonuses,
skilled.
buffs sometimes.
Yeah, they're all over the map.
Yeah.
This character gets extra AP at the beginning, or this character gets double damage but takes double damage, yada yada yada.
Right.
And after you beat I can't remember, it's like 3 or 5 battles with that Pictus equipped, then your character can just natively equip that skill,
Right.
which is really cool. But oh my gosh, there are so many.
Yeah.
Like it is. There are times where I've turned on the game, like I'm not going to interact with the system at all because there's, like it turns into okay, which of these skills costs more to equip? Okay, I'm gonna have the character equip the Pictus of that benefits their skills more,
Right.
so that they don't have to pay the cost on that, so they can equip more of these. They don't call them skills; it's something else.
Yeah, like chroma or something like that.
So Chrome is the resource that I think you use.
Right. You're right.
It's like a level up resource, either for weapons or something else.
Yeah. It's another like painting term.
Yeah, yeah. But like I like the vibe of the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's very confusing to me on when I should explore or when I shouldn't.
Yeah.
It seems like it will let me go back to areas, see certain areas that say danger on them, but
Right.
like I just recently discovered like a bunch of extra side stuff that's like, oh crap, have I been missing all this stuff the whole time because I've just beelining because I think it's gonna give me the ability to travel to old areas easier soon. But anyway, uh, which, by the way, once you unlock the thing that that I assume is going to allow you to travel, it hasn't yet.
Mm.
But it's a very entertaining thing. It's one of my favorite things in the game.
Oh, okay.
Which you're probably not too far from it. Got
Yeah.
the water area.
I really have to get back to this, and I'm maybe setting it to the easiest difficulty and just kind of going through, because the majority of what I've been hearing people saying is that they really have been enjoying the storyline. And there's been, we were talking earlier before we were recording about me trying to stay off the internet as much as possible. Expedition 33's strongest soldiers have been a part of that, because there's been a lot of hyperbole surrounding this. Reminds me of the original Final Fantasy VII days, where people are like, "Oh, this is the first RPG that really treats you like an adult," and it's like, "Oh my god, okay, just." It's fine if you don't play a lot of RPGs. That's fine, but like, there are so many types of video games out there, and so many sort of mature stories that are out there, that like, this isn't the only video game that dares to tell a story, I promise you. So like, I think if I set it to a lower difficulty and mainly come in there to focus on the story, which does honestly seem like a strong point, even, you know, getting through the intro is just like, okay, I definitely haven't played a story like this before, and I appreciate the game is just trying to rip my heart out of my chest within the first 30 minutes. You know, maybe I'll just focus on that.
I think you should try that. It's and to be clear, this is not a game I can play for long stretches.
No, yeah.
It is. There's a lot of management in it, which I just don't know that I'm. It's of a type that I think if they ever make another one of these, they will streamline it in a lot of smart ways, but it's just not there at the moment.
That's a good point. It is like it's like an oddly fiddly game, and not in a way that like an SMT game is, where I'm like managing demons and fusing things and trying to do that. Like there's something about the Pictos and all that just feels very, I'm like in there all the time doing stuff, and maybe I'm just not in the right mood for this specific type of game at the moment.
Yeah, and I like the idea of it, but it's very like PS1, right? Like,
for better or for worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I like it, but the Persona and SMT games are so streamlined on so much of that stuff now.
Yeah.
Like when Nocturne first came out, like you legit had to break out the demon family chart.
Yeah, exactly.
If you've never Googled it, you should look it up, and it is mind-bending.
It's wild.
Even if you go through that chart and follow it to try and get a specific demon, you may not, because your demons may be level too low or too high, or some other audience might be in there.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
And another thing this game has going against it is there's no local map, which
it drives me bonkers.
It does. It's probably the thing that bothers me most about the game.
Like I see people lumping the map, like let's call it like a dungeon map. I see people lumping in dungeon map and stuff with a lack of a mini map. Those are two separate options, or two separate things. I don't mind if a game like this doesn't have a mini map, but I do mind that I keep getting turned around because I'm trying to solve a puzzle or get from point A to point B in a dungeon. I fight 2 or 3 enemies, and then I come back out and I'm like, I don't even know where I'm going. All of this stuff looks the same. What am I doing here?
Yeah. Well, and so for me, I have the same issue, but the bigger thing is I don't get to game every day anymore. So I will save in the middle of a dungeon and come back. I have no idea where I'm.
Yeah,
I will
exactly.
choose a direction, and I'll be like, I just went to the start of the dungeon.
Right. That's the entrance. Boy. Yeah.
Yeah. And Again, on top of that, it has like each dungeon appears to have these pretty long, extended areas that go nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
That either just gets you to like a secret, like mime boss,
Mm-hmm.
or something like that, which is great. I do want that stuff, but it is very it is misleading in a way that I don't like.
Yeah, old
Um,
school, and like maybe not in a complimentary way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like that said, like I feel like, gosh, you're talking about internet critics, and I have some real life friends who. Let me make this general so people just don't guess what I'm talking about. Let's say there's a movie that came out within the last 12 months that I saw that was a critical darling among my friends, and
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was okay.
Okay.
Um, and I've only seen it once, and I had a friend who wanted to discuss that with me, and so I just took them on good faith and started listing out my reasons. And then they started saying, "Well, then you missed X, Y, and Z. See, that's not the movie's fault. That's your fault." And it's like,
I
okay,
can't win,
that's
huh?
fair, but you asked for me for my opinion. You aren't going to
Right.
argue me into suddenly being in love with the movie like you are, and
Right.
that is what I suspect you were experiencing looking at
Yeah,
comments with this game.
and like part of it is like it's hard to talk about this because look, we're on a show that we've been doing for many years that are focused on RPGs, and we play a lot of RPGs. So I don't want to make this seem like, well, of course you love it because it's baby's first RPG, or like, oh, it's the only RPG you played. It's the best one. Like, I really don't want to make it sound like that because I do want. I've said this for the longest time. I do want more people to play video games. So if you played and you loved Expedition 33, that's great. You played a video game you loved. That's all I want. But like, there's something about it as someone who loves RPGs and someone who loves RPGs like this, these kind of like timing based RPGs, there's something about it that just isn't clicking with me immediately. Not not compared to everybody else, but compared to the other RPGs like this that I've liked. And there is, to be honest, an element of frustration there of like, well, this is an RPG made for me, and like talking to my brain, why don't you like this? Why isn't this making you happy? Like, what's wrong with you? And there's something about it that's just really it could be my mood, it could be where I'm at right now, it could be the other games that I'm playing, it could be games that I have played. I will be pretty honest. I'm pretty frustrated with video games because I really didn't like Lost what was it? Lost Records, Bloom and Rage.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
really was frustrated with so much of that game, and I think part of my frustration with that game has been bleeding out into a bunch of other video games and kind of poisoning the well a little bit,
yeah,
which isn't Expedition 33's fault, but it definitely is a variable here.
yeah, yeah. It's man, I get it. It's been a while. I feel like since I played a slam dunk. Like it was
Yeah,
probably one of our. I'd have to look at our game club list. There's probably one sooner in there than I'm thinking there
right.
is. But like, yeah, and it's the world is what it is, and I
Yeah,
think the game development. And I haven't followed it closely like I used to, but it seems to me like so much of that stuff is up in flux. Like
yeah,
none of these companies know how to manage their development or market a game or what makes a good game, and it's kind of all over the map. And I don't know if they're doing well financially. You might have a better clue on that than I do,
hmm
but uh,
well,
I
I
feel like a lot of that stuff plays into it.
yeah, and part of the thing I was interested in with this game is it's published by Kepler Interactive, which is a kind of an indie publisher that I have been keeping an eye on for a while, ever since we played that first person car driving survival game on Game Club, whose name I will consistently Pacific Drive. Um, they published that as well, and I was like, all right, between that and a bunch of other stuff you've published and Expedition 33, They seem like they have their finger on the pulse in the same way that Annapurna did, Devolver Digital does, and I'm glad it's a super big hit for them. It's the physical versions of this game can't stay in stock. It sells out nearly immediately every time it pops up, um,
Hmm.
and it seems to be doing very very well. Just hasn't landed for me yet in a way that um, I was not expecting, but I think I was hoping for it to.
Yeah. I really thought this would be a slant like
Yeah.
French JRPG, but like I think I don't know. In my brain, like it's the Dark Souls sides of it because I've kind
Mm-hmm.
of given up on Souls type games,
Yeah. Ditto.
um, and this has a lot of that DNA in there,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is what I attribute a lot of the blocking and stuff to. And
Mm-hmm.
they have. I thought it was like a bonfire system, and I don't know if it changed when I put it to easy, but I thought enemies were regenerating when I. But
Yeah, I
it
thought so
seems like they
too. Maybe they changed that for easy then.
Yeah, like because they just keep regenerating on easy. Like
Hmm.
I don't even change screens. I just kind of go into this little section of the map, and then if I walk back, they're back for some reason.
Interesting.
But I don't know. It's easy enough now. It's not a huge deal.
Right.
But anywho, I don't know. I'm still gonna keep playing it off and on. But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't.
It complicated.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's I'm glad it exists. I'm glad it is hit home for a lot of people. Um, it's not 100% for me, but I have a lot of hopes of still loving it by the end. And
Right.
well, anyway, uh, that's all I've been playing.
All
What do you
right.
got?
I got two games here. First up is the Division 2, of all things.
Oh
Um,
wow, it's been a
Ubisoft
minute.
put out an expansion for this that came out of nowhere as someone who has kind of kept half an eye on Division 2 because I really, really like this game. Um, I ran across it. It wasn't even an ad or anything. Somebody had just been like, hey, man, how's everyone doing in the Battle for Brooklyn DLC? And I was like, what? Huh? That wasn't the name of the Manhattan one. They're like, oh no, it's brand new full DLC. And I was like, okay, great. So I picked that up, and I've been making my way through that. I was initially a little bit bummed by the size of the map. I wasn't expecting it to be the size of the Washington D.C. map, which is huge. That's the base game. Um, but it only has two districts in it. There's Brooklyn Heights, if I remember correctly, and then Dumbo. Um, and uh, looking at the previous DLC, that had four areas in it. So I was like, all right, that's the game has changed developers between the two pieces of DLC. It's been a number of years since the first expansion. Um, and then making my way through it, I realized that um, unlike the last DLC, which had a bigger map but fewer missions, this was the opposite. So it has a smaller map, but it has way more missions in it, and I think it's two or three of them are kind of off-site missions. So you get in a helicopter and you go to like kind of a big self-contained mission, and those ones are usually the kind of bigger, really good missions. So there's more in this DLC than I think it looks like on the surface, which is a pretty big positive. Um, I thought a lot of the missions were really good. I have finished it. It's not super long, and I'm not playing on the hardest difficulty, so I'm not like spending an hour in each mission or anything. Um, I thought a lot of it was really good. There's a new debuff that the enemies can apply to you called Purple Flame, and uh, it's interesting because your character has two essentially health bars. And one is a bunch with the white pips; that's your armor, and then you have a small orange bar, which is actually your health. Basically, if your armor runs out and you go down in your health, you're probably going to die. Like there, you have almost no health, just sort of out of hand. And Purple Flame is a permanent, at least like for this encounter, is a permanent debuff towards your armor. So it sort of takes a chunk, and the more you get hit, the more maximum armor gets peeled off. So you have less and less to work with sort of every time you get hit. Which I think is kind of fun, because it's not just like, oh, you got poisoned. Oh, you got set on fire. Oh, you're blinded. So there's a little bit of a different thing, and I like having to prioritize enemies differently. Is it's like, okay, I see a flamethrower dude that has purple flame. That's the guy I have to take out first, because that's the one that's going to mess me up for the entire rest of the fight. So that's been pretty nice. I'm not super crazy about where they went with the storyline with this one. Look, I'll be honest. I'm not the person that you come to for like the Division lore. I'm a lot of this game is me being like, yep. Anyways, let's shoot the bad guys. But there's a pretty considerable amount of this DLC that is like trying to make it seem like the bad guys that are kind of behind everything in both of these games have been framed, and maybe they didn't really mean it, and like maybe that's not what they meant to do, and it's like yeah, but like the green poison or whatever they call it, like that's where the virus that was that spread via the money, that's still a pretty bad thing, man. Like I don't know if I want to just say like, well, they feel really badly about it. It's like I don't know if that's how it works, man. So I'm curious to see where they go with that, because the Division in the past has done a really good job of continuing the storyline in additional seasons in between DLCs. I think I found where you can replay the story missions from previous DLCs or from previous seasons. So there is a little bit of stuff for me to catch up on. So maybe there's something in there where it's like, oh, okay, they did a good job, explaining this sort of thing away. I'm not entirely sure. But honestly, I've just been playing a lot of this because there's a pretty good amount of stuff that I didn't do in between when I stopped playing, I don't know how long ago, and now. And none of it has really seemed to go away. So there's a lot of stuff for me to catch up on. There's a lot of stuff that I don't think I really knew that I could do, and I think the game is doing a better job of surfacing it. And there's a bunch of stuff that I don't think I got deep enough into the mechanics of before. Also, there's a new mode in this called, I think it's called Descent, which is their roguelike mode. You basically get dumped in this giant dungeon with nothing, and then you're kind of looting and buying a bunch of stuff in the dungeon to see how far you can go, which seems like a cool mode that I haven't spent too much time in, but there's an entire extra thing to do in there now. So it's pretty fun. I like the Division a lot, and I think I like the Division 2 a lot. I've never played the first one. And I think it's that kind of thing where I've been away from it for long enough to be like, yeah, the Division 2 is great, instead of being like, ugh, I gotta grind for another stupid like I don't have that sort of thing going on, which I think is kind of the best position you can be put in, I think. And it seems like it's pretty welcoming for someone like me, that's been gone for a while, which is great. And I wish more video games would do that. Excuse me. As soon as I started talking, I have something in my throat.
Man.
But yeah, Division 2, still great. Still really enjoying it. Highly recommend it. It's on Game Pass now, the base game. So if anyone wanted to check that out there, I only play this solo. I can count on one hand the number of missions that I have run with any other people. So it's very, very solo friendly, and very configurable from a difficulty standpoint. So Division 2, check it out. Last but certainly not least, Final Fantasy V Forge Out Fiesta kicked off recently. Last week? 2 weeks ago? Something like that. I've been very sick recently, so time has sort of lost all meaning. My first run that I did, and I have since completed, I did a Meteor Berserker Risk run. Didn't get any Berserkers, but Meteor is essentially, for anyone that doesn't play, you can just get any job at any crystal. So it has really no restrictions. I don't think, excuse me, I don't think I picked one where you can get duplicates, but you can run for a considerable amount of time with something that turns out to be really bad. I got a really bad group for my first run this year. I got Beastmaster, Bard, Dragoon, Ranger. Bard is really good, like at the very end of the game. Ranger can be really good all the way at the very end of the game. Beastmaster is fine, with like a considerable amount of work to make it happen. And Dragoon is kind of not. They got a lot of health. They got that going for them. That run was a pretty big struggle. Excuse me. I definitely succeeded on that run, but there was a lot of the end of that run where I was like, okay, I'm just going to be grinding here for a really long time to try and make up for the party's weaknesses just by sheer levels. And that's really how I beat the game, was just, okay, I'm going to out-level anything the final boss can throw at me. Here we go. So that was not a really fun run. And I wrote in my notes here, quote, I have trouble thinking of a worse group, end quote. Let me tell you about my second run.
Oh, no.
Ranger, Dancer, Geomancer, Beastmaster. Hey, guess what? It's way worse. I looked back through my spreadsheet, as I've been playing this for 14 years now. I looked at my spreadsheet, and I list out every run that I have ever done, and whether it's succeeded or not. I struggle to find a worse run that I have done, and this one is really painful. I am in World 1 here, still at the beginning, and I am just struggling. I have no healing, I have no damage, I have no magic. I have nothing, man. And again, like the other ones, I will beat this one because I am stubborn. But this one is going to be a real trial to get through. And my next run will probably be just a regular run, just to say, okay, give me something that isn't a total nightmare. Hopefully, please. Sorry, I'm trying to get something to drink here to get this Beastmaster out of my throat. So, again, I really love doing the Forge Out Fiesta. By the time the Fiesta is over, I'm usually at the point where I'm like, yep, not going to play this game for a good long time. And then June rolls around. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to play some Final Fantasy V. It's been too long. And then I get a Nightmare run, and I was like, yes, right. Yep, Final Fantasy V. Yeah. So that's all the stuff I'm playing recently. It's been, listen next month for whatever nightmares I'm going to have for the Forge Out Fiesta upcoming. There probably will be. Check whatever Nightmare Run 3 will be, because, boy, I don't know what that's going to be. Let's talk releases here real quick for June 2025. Switch 2 came out on the 5th of this month. Real quick breakdown of the RPGs that launched with it. Deltarune came to Switch 2. That has all 4 chapters right now. Excuse me. I believe that's only 4 chapters. I don't really pay attention to it. So if there's going to be future chapters in the future, I don't really know. So please don't yell at me. Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster. That seems to be getting pretty good reviews. Seems to be a good version of that. I like that game. One of the maybe 24 of people that like that game the entire way through. We'll see how that goes for the rest of it. Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition. Reminder, this is one of the few third-party games that's actually on cartridge. This is not one of those horrible nightmare game key cartridges. So big props to CD Projekt Red for getting the whole thing on the cartridge. Thumbs up. More developers and publishers should do that. Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time. People seem to be really enjoying this as well. People really loved that first one. That was on 3DS, if I remember. So this one just seems to be more of it and even better. So go check that out. Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. It's a Rune Factory game. I don't know too much about that. Suikoden 1 and 2 HD remasters, getting a native Switch 2 version. And Yakuza 0 Director's Cut with 26 minutes of brand new content. So that's Switch 2 RPG releases. Let's break down some of the other stuff that's coming out here. Zenless Zone Zero on June 6th came out on series consoles. That was kind of alongside the version 2.0 release for Zenless Zone Zero. If you haven't heard about this is one of the Hoyoverse games. This isn't the Breath of the Wild one, and it's not the turn-based RPG one. This is the kind of the arena battler one. It's real good, and I'm not playing it to save myself because I can't do gacha games. I can't. My wallet can't handle that. Sorry. Final Fantasy 16 is out now on series consoles. We'll talk about it here in a minute, but this was a surprise drop during the Xbox conference here during Not E3. So that's out now. You can go check that out. I still need to play it. I still haven't played this quite yet. Gotta get around to that.
Same.
Rido Remastered, The Mystery of the Soulless Army, comes out on June 19th for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series Console, Switch, Switch 2, and PC. This is a remaster and light remake of the first Rido game from PS2. This is really interesting. Number one, this game looks really good. They've really managed to capture what I think made the style look really cool of the original. But they've also done a bunch of quality of life improvements that they carried over from the second one from PS2. And it seems it's been a long time since I played both of these games. I remember really liking both of these, and based on preview coverage I've seen, people seem to really, really like what they've done in this one. So if you like the SMT and the Persona games and you're looking for something that's a little bit more actiony and a little bit less kind of turn-based, both of these games originally were really good, and I'd keep an eye on these guys. Did you play these two originally?
I played the beginning of both of them, and I remember you really digging it at the time. I think it made it the farthest in the first one, and the second one I never got very far in because I always wanted to beat the first one first.
Right, right.
So I think I have this game on pre-order. Like I'm reaching a point where I'm gonna stop trying to get all the SMT and Persona stuff because there's too much of it, and my sealed copies of the Persona 5 stuff has not gone up in value at all.
Oh, sure.
Because Sega's just drowning the audience in merch stuff. But I'm trying to quickly get to my pre-orders. Well, maybe I didn't pre-order. I thought I did. Oh no, I did. Hey, comes in on Thursday.
Oh, there you go.
And they didn't do a big crazy edition of it, which helps me too.
Oh, okay.
Because it's just a plain launch edition for like $50, so that was like a.
That's not bad.
I can't argue with that, you know. Now whether I actually play it, like that's another question.
Right.
I'm not sure if I'm ready yet. But at the same time, like it is a game series I've always loved that I never went back to. Played through. I always thought it was, you know, the Persona games. You have Igor in the Blue Room, and in these games you have Dr. Frankenstein.
Yes,
like,
I forgot.
I'm sorry,
that.
They call him Victor.
Right.
But it's just a fun contrast, and I love the whole detective angle, like of the series. You know,
and it's a very different battle system too.
Yeah. While still having like the demon fusing.
Yeah.
I think it did have demon.
It did, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. These are cool games. Hopefully this one does well, and hopefully they bring the second one out, because I remember excuse me, getting choked up about Atlas games. The second one was really good too. So, and they feature a talking cat. I'm always a sucker for that.
Oh, I forgot about the talking cat.
Yeah, it's a cool dude. Front Mission 3 Remake comes out on June 26th on the Switch. I feel like I've heard.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah, I feel like this is the first time I have heard about this. The first two remakes weren't always super well received. I think they've been fine, but I think they've had some not critical problems, but enough problems to be like, all right, that's annoying. So I'm curious to see how this third one does.
It doesn't look like they have a physical version of this out. So in my opinion, oh wait, am I getting? Hold on. Because Front Mission 3 is the PS1 that came out here, right? And Front Mission 4 is the PS2. Yes, okay. So Front Mission 3 is, I believe, generally considered to be the best Front Mission game.
Oh, okay.
At least released stateside that I'm aware of. Like it's my favorite one. It's the favorite one among my friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's really freaking good. And they have two. It's kind of insane. You know, most of the games have two storylines depending on which main character you pick.
Oh,
and
right.
This game's two main storylines are both like 60 or 80 hours each. Something ridiculous like that. So I'd really like to play this. I really don't want to touch my Switch ever again. I don't. Like, if it, if I could play my Switch in handheld mode and not have the Joy consistently just repetitively disconnect every 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I think I'd be more open to it. But I'm not going to buy another Switch, and I'm tired of switching my Joy-Cons out for new ones, and I'm just kind of done. But if you like customizable mechs, dude, this game is it.
There's few better than these games.
Yeah. I don't know that Front Mission is ever going to take off. Like, I wish it would.
No, yeah.
But this will be the height. Hopefully someone does a cool physical version that is 50 or 60, like under $100.
Right.
And I will buy that.
Fingers crossed.
I don't need this. What was it? The limited run games tried to do.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? We're gonna do $200 versions of Persona 4 and 3. And I just was like,
I'm good. Thank you.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I want them, but I do not have the money, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
And
it does well.
last release here, Persona 5 The Phantom X comes out on June 26th on iOS, Android, and PC. To be clear, this is a mobile game that does feature some sort of gacha stuff. So if you are like me and you're concerned / allergic to that, please be careful. I honestly don't know a whole ton about this because I've largely been kind of avoiding it because I wasn't sure if it was ever going to come out over here. What was that other Persona mobile game that I think Sega put out? There was that other one. And I was like, well, neither of these are going to come out in the States because why would they? So I never really kind of paid attention, but here they are. And don't be surprised if a mobile game is like a mobile game. Let's just kind of put it that way. So,
Yeah.
So I'll probably
Not
try
sure
this.
I'll try this one or not.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for you to try it.
Yeah, I'll probably try it, but I doubt I'm gonna stick with it too much because I just gacha stuff just doesn't really ever work for me, and I'm curious / concerned about what a Persona kind of gacha thing would look like, specifically for Persona 5.
Yeah, and they've milked Persona 5 too much.
That's gonna be the thing I was literally about to say, which is like maybe I'm done with Persona 5. I think maybe I've hit my limit for 5 here.
Yes.
Yeah.
They need to move on. And
yeah.
I feel like part of me wonders, like I'd love, and I know this is something we'll probably never know. I'd really like to know how much of the milking of Persona 5 had to do with Sega versus Atlas.
Right.
I feel like Atlas would have been more wise about it, and
Right.
Sega is,
And Sega's like, I got this other team over there. They'll make another Persona game.
Yeah.
Atlas is like, yeah, you're the boss, man. Sure, whatever.
Granted, Phantom Strikers is a great game. Like
Right, true.
probably will go back to that game and possibly finish it someday.
I never played Tactica. That's the one I wanted to play. That's the like grid SRPG one. Yeah. That one seemed neat.
I wanted to play because it was a grid RPG, but I think at this point, despite me owning it, I am Persona 5'd out. Like,
yeah.
I can't do it anymore.
I don't blame you.
I can't revisit Joker. Like I'm not even.
Right.
I don't think I can replay 5, possibly ever again.
Well, maybe we'll have good news about a different Persona game that isn't Persona 5 in our next segment, where we're going to talk about not E3 2025. We're going to blow through some of this. There isn't a ton of RPG stuff here that happened. First one, big up here, State of Play, June 2025. The big one, Final Fantasy Tactics, the Evil East Chronicles. They're finally not remastering and remastering Final Fantasy Tactics at the same time, which is honestly the best outcome you could have here. So it's coming out PS4, PS5, Series consoles, Switch 1 and Switch 2. I think maybe PC, but don't quote me on that. So the interesting thing about this one is there's 2 versions of Final Fantasy Tactics. They're putting the PS1 version as it is in here, untouched, except it has the War of the Lions translation in it. And that's it. They're just putting that in there, called Classic. Then they have the enhanced one where it has like turn order on the side. It has, instead of like the big circle for the jobs, it has a tree of like level up these 2 jobs and it'll unlock this one. Level up this one and it'll unlock this one. There's like a new translation in there. There's full voice acting. There's a whole ton of stuff in there that seems like I think it will improve the game overall. But even if it doesn't, the original is still in there, seemingly untouched. So I'm pretty pumped about this because Final Fantasy Tactics is one of the best SRPGs you can play out there, and it's nice that people will finally have a really easy way of being able to play it.
Did you read the letter
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah,
they put
Matsuno
out?
put out
Oh,
a
oh, that's
letter.
so good.
It starts with, I thought it was a joke originally, because it started with like, Japan's big financial boom in the 1980s, and it was like, huh? And then it eventually turned into, there is no story more prescient in the current times than Final Fantasy Tactics, and I wish I went harder with it. I was like, dang, Matsuno, okay, killing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're listening to the show and you haven't played Final Fantasy Tactics before, you really should. It is an outstanding game. It is an outstanding piece of fiction. It is really, really, it is as good as people tell you it is. It's really great.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've replayed it, so
Ditto. It's been hard to play. Like we had that PSP version, which was good but had frame rate issues, and then we had the original version, and that was PS1, and that was really it.
that
Um,
is a good point.
yeah. So happy to see it's coming out on a whole bunch of platforms as well.
I
Uh,
hope they bring it out for because I don't see PC or Steam listed in there, and I hope
yeah,
they do that.
so part of it, part of the frustration is that during these conferences, a lot of the other conferences did it really well. Like even the Xbox conference would say, "We're announcing this game. It's coming out on Game Pass, on PC, on Xbox. It's also coming out on PS4 and PS5." Like at the end of the trailer they put out, Sony was just saying it's coming to PS4 and PS5. It's like, yeah, that's cool, but like for real, what else is it coming out on? Because it's not exclusive, and you kind of have to dig into where to find the other stuff. So I feel like half of Square's stuff is them saying like, "Of course it's coming out on PC. Don't be silly." And the other half is like, "PC? No, never. Why would I put that on PC?"
Yeah,
So like, I'm not entirely sure where it's gonna fall, but I'm hoping it'll come out on PC, just for people playing on the Steam Deck specifically. Um, so the other one here is FBC Firebreak. Um, where is this in this list? I keep losing this. Um, I am not entirely sure if this is an RPG or not. I mean, it sort of seems like it is, but nevertheless, I'm pretty excited for that to come out because I think that looks really cool. And reminder that it comes on Game Pass and PS Plus also. Also, Neo 3 got announced. So that's pretty exciting. I'm like we were talking about earlier, definitely not like a Soulsborne guy, but happy to see them continuing to make the Neo games, which seem very, very cool. Let's move on to Summer Game Fest. First up, Code Vein 2, which is the kind of anime Dark Souls to be super reductive about it. That's coming out next year. I wasn't really sure we would ever get a sequel to this because the first game did really, really, really well. But it seemed like one of those games that's just like, yeah, we tried it, you loved it, but I don't know, we're never making a sequel. So pretty happy to see that they're making another one of these, and hopefully the the character creator is up to snuff again, because that's the one thing people really, really loved from the first one.
that game
So
looks so cool. I always meant to play it, just never did.
yeah, it's really cool. I remember over on TVGP, the Nymph played a lot of it and really liked it, and I think I remember it being fairly beginner friendly too for people that aren't like way into Souls games. So that's pretty great. Nice to see that. Where's the next game here? Arc Raiders. has a release date of October 30th. That's the... Okay, so here's the thing. I haven't figured out yet if extraction shooters are RPGs or not. They are so loot focused, and Arc Raiders is kind of experience and meta progression focused, that I'm sure you could make an argument that they are at least RPG. They have some sort of RPG spice in them. Don't worry, this isn't going to be the extraction shooter show every month. That's not gonna. I don't really like extraction shooters, so that's not gonna happen. But a curious thought experiment of, is this? We know the Zelda games are not RPGs. Don't write me about that. But like, is an extraction shooter like this an RPG? Time will tell.
That's a good question.
And last but certainly not least here, where is this game in here? I keep forgetting. It's what's the name of the game? Stranger Than Heaven. This is the the RGG Studios game. This was called Project Century, and oh my God, I'm losing this in this list. Stranger Than Heaven. There we go. So this was called Project Century, and it was originally going to take place in like 1910 something. It is now called Stranger Than Heaven. It is taking place in 1943, and I think this is immediately kind of a selling point for people like me, or it's a point to avoid for people that don't like their games. Looks like an RPG game. So if you've played any kind of Judgment or Yakuza or Like a Dragon games, I think for me, it's like, cool, you made another cool open world kind of rumbling action game. Great. I'm in. But I can understand if you have tried their games before, or sort of being like, I don't know, man. Maybe that's not for me. I get it. I understand. But really neat. Also, talked a little bit about this on TVGP last week, that it's really impressive how they have, in a short, I don't know, handful of months, completely transformed this game from like 30 years in the future, where it was before. RGG is an incredibly impressive studio overall. I think they're great. So that's Stranger Than Fiction. That's going to be their next game, which by all accounts looks like an RPG from them. So let's move over to Day of the Devs here, featuring it's me, Tim Schafer from Video Games. Again, I'll say this every year. Please go watch the Day of the Devs stream. It's really good. They showcase some of the coolest games in video games, and they show a lot of stuff that a lot of other conferences wouldn't show. There's a game called, I think it's called Tire Boy, where you're just like half tire, half person, rolling around this idyllic looking countryside doing quests and stuff. No one else is going to be showing a game like that. But we played Thirsty Suitors on Game Club, I think it was last year. And that studio, Outer Loop, is making their next game here, which is called Dosa Divas, One Last Meal. It's a post-apocalyptic, food-based RPG. It looks like it kind of is the next step from Thirsty Suitors, where it's more of a robust RPG than Thirsty Suitors had, but with still kind of a focus on food and cooking, like the previous one did. So I'm really excited about that. That's coming out early 2026. I will probably try and float it to the other two gentlemen on the Game Club show when that comes out, and maybe we'll play it on there. But really, really happy to see them making something else, especially after the sort of big hit that Thirsty Suitors was. So that's called Dosa Divas. Next up, Moonlighter 2, with what's the subtitle? The Endless Vault. That's coming up. Sort of an RPG, sort of a roguelike here, kind of smushing the two together. If people didn't play the original one, you kind of switch between two different modes. At night, you go to the dungeon, you try and get as much loot as you can fit in your backpack, and then during the day, you sell that loot in your store that you're running. And then you take all that money and upgrade the town, and then go back in the dungeon and kind of rinse and repeat. I really liked that first game a whole lot, and the footage they showed for this one, a lot of the stuff they covered is basically like, hey, the stuff that bugged you in the first game, we fixed it and we've made it way better. Or the stuff that maybe wasn't as exciting in the first game, we've made it a lot more exciting in this one. So I'm pretty excited. I liked that first one a lot, and a lot of the improvements in this one look really, really cool. That's coming out. When is it coming out? I still think it's coming out this year, but I don't 100% remember. Let me see if they have a date here at the end of this trailer. But I'm pretty excited for that. That's coming out on, I think, all different platforms. Excuse me. Next game here, Neverway, which the developers call a horror RPG and life sim, with pixel art by the artist who did the pixel art for Celeste, and the music by Disasterpiece, one of my favorite video game composers who did Fez, among other games. This is a really cool kind of monochromatic, very creepy looking RPG that manages to combine kind of a hack and slash dungeon crawling RPG with a life sim. If you think of like Stardew Valley, something like that, where you're living in a town, you're running a farm, helping fix up the shop, that sort of thing. I think it looks really, really neat. I like the idea of more of these games coming out that they don't kind of look like Harvest Moon. They have a kind of a unique and sometimes kind of darker aesthetic to them, which I think could be really interesting. So that's Neverway. Last here we have a game called Consume Me. The developers say, quote, being a teenager sucks, so we made a video game about it, end quote. This is one of those, I kind of don't know what to call this genre, where it's like, I only have so much time in a day, and I need to improve my stats as much as I can every day. I don't really know sort of what that genre is. But that's what this game is, trying to improve all your stuff in X amount of time per day. It has a really fun art style. Seems like it's really kind of a fun take on kind of failing as a teenager in a way that I think seems really fun. So that's called Consume Me. Two real quick ones here from Wholesome Direct. Again, you should go watch this one. You should watch any of the Wholesome Directs, because a lot of them are just like, hey, we got 30 minutes and we put 75 cool looking games in here. So they show a lot of cool stuff. First up is Let's Build a Dungeon, a single player or multiplayer MMO where you're the developer, and you're kind of like managing what the world looks like and kind of what dungeons look like, but you're also like building the back end of the game and hiring developers and running the studio, and you can build this stuff with up to 4 people. So it seems like it's kind of an interesting idea of like an RPG maker that you play with your friends, where you're also running the servers that build these games. So this seems really neat. It's called Let's Build a Dungeon. I think that looks really, really interesting. And then a game that I think could potentially be an RPG, I think, if not maybe just idle game, Vending Dokkan, Cozy Kiosk. This is a game where you are managing a small number of vending machines. You're kind of taking care of them, painting them, scrubbing them up, stocking them, and then putting them in various alleyways and parts of a city, and kind of waiting for them to make their money. And I think it looks
That
really
kind of sounds amazing to me.
yeah. I think it looks really cool. It has a really cool trailer. I think one of the things that I think is great is we're seeing kind of rash of these interesting games where you can minimize them or they run at the bottom or the corner of your screen. So like while you're doing other stuff, or while you're, let's say, editing a podcast like this one, then you can also be playing a game at the same time. So I think that's pretty cool. That's Vending Dokkan, Dokan. All right, we have a couple of games here from the Xbox Games Showcase as our very last one. Outer Worlds 2, kind of a longer thing. They also did an Obsidian Direct. Obsidian is working on 3 games right now, which is almost unbelievable for a company like Obsidian that was like circling the drain a handful of years ago. That comes out October 29th on all platforms. It is unfortunately $80, and that sucks. That's real not good. I know a lot of people have been saying that's what video games are now, and cool, but that sucks. that's not gonna work for me, man. The only thing I wish at this point, and I hope they kind of get a little bit better about this as it gets a little closer to release, is like you have done the kind of like funny trailers, but now I need to know like
Oh, yeah.
specifically what's different slash improved without having to watch like a 2-hour direct just for Obsidian. I love them and all, but like, come on. Like I need to know, like, as someone who loved the first one, what's all the stuff that's better in the second one, and like how's the second one improved?
It is it's a funny angle because it's what are you guys doing different from Bethesda?
Right,
like
right,
like how are you improving upon your model?
right.
Like I love that first game, but it did not have like I feel like there was interesting choice variability in a replay, but it was kind of in the avowed situation where it's just very much kind of doing the same stuff on the map each time.
Right.
Uh,
And like after finishing a playthrough, I'm like, that was good enough for me. I enjoyed that, and I don't. I think I'm
yeah,
one and done on that one. So
yeah,
yeah, we'll see. I'm curious because I think that first one was kind of a surprise runaway hit, and I think with more time and a bigger budget, which is kind of the thing we've always wanted from Obsidian. Like, what are you gonna do with this one? And
yeah.
I'm really curious to see how this one turns
I,
out.
I was reading an interview with I guess the creative head. I don't remember the person's name, but they were talking about how while they really enjoyed what they did on the first game, like they felt it was kind of one note in terms of the joke they were making,
Sure.
and so they were really looking to expand a lot of that because they are
Mm,
not as resource restricted on this one in making it.
gotcha.
So it, he was kind of saying the right things,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I don't know. To me, it's okay. I'll offer the differing opinion. I $80 a game sucks,
Hmm.
but the price has stayed the same for a very long time.
Oh, for sure.
Um, a lot of inflation has happened during that time,
Right.
and like at the end of the day, I hate the subscription model because I feel like that has been the destruction of every. I mean, not the destruction, but the down quality of every piece of media that it's done. Like, I
Yeah.
think it's made like music, like easier for people to publish it. It's also made it people to find smaller bands and groups unless you're just actively out going to the concerts and such. It's, the Netflix model is, theater still exists, but barely. Like now the popcorn bucket is the thing to try
Right.
and keep a
Right.
theater alive, and like the answer to Outer Worlds 2 is get Game Pass, and
Right, which is
you know,
rough.
yeah, and you got to get the $20 version if you want the day and date
Right,
games,
right.
which I am currently on at the moment. But once I beat Expedition 33, I will probably cancel it unless it's already out, and
Yeah,
then I'll stay on it for a little bit longer. But
yeah.
uh, at the same time, if I'm on it for a year and I've spent $20 every month, maybe I should have just bought all those games.
Right, right. Yeah, maybe $80 isn't that bad if that's the only game you're gonna be picking up. Yeah.
Well, it's like Clair Obscur was like $50. I think Oblivion. Well, I want to say Oblivion was 50, but I bet that's wrong. I bet
You knowing Bethesda is probably wrong. Yeah.
I feel like they overcharge. No, it's 50. It's 50 on Steam
Okay.
right now.
I'm pleasantly surprised by that.
Yeah, I've started adding things to my wish list. In which, by the way, Final Fantasy Tactics, Ivalice Chronicles is coming to Steam, and
Ah,
is on
perfect.
my wish list now.
Thank you.
Um,
That's good news. The perfect
yeah,
Steam Deck game.
I don't know the solution to this stuff, and I don't think society is suddenly going to turn away from the convenience of these subscription models. So
Right.
I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is. Like in a
No
way,
easy answers, unfortunately.
yeah. In a way, I'm also kind of like the worst in that. Like if a game is coming out with a cool collector's edition, I've been the person to buy those past
Right.
years, pretty without thought, and I've now reached just a financial point where I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I need space in my house, and the reality is, a lot of these collector's editions, like famously the what was it, Horizon Forbidden West? I don't even think came with a disc.
Yeah, I was gonna buy the Final Fantasy Tactics Collector's Edition because I liked a bunch of the stuff that was in there. It's like a 3D like pop up the monastery from the beginning of the game. It doesn't come with a disc. It doesn't even come with like a steelbook of the game, and it's $200. And I was like, well, what are we doing here, man? Like, I don't know. It's frustrating.
Yeah,
Capitalism.
The way these companies operate, and the way the world's been going, like I just I think we need to go back to physical copies, and I don't know how to make the world
Right,
make that
yeah.
appealing to the world. And
Right.
there have been too many movies I've wanted to see that just aren't on streaming. Like Strange Days is a favorite of mine, and it was on streaming till about a year ago.
Mm,
Uh, and like I think that's going to happen with a lot of these games, and the way
right.
I don't know. It's been making its own grave for a while, but I don't know what that is going to look like in the end.
Yeah. The other game that Obsidian is working on is Grounded 2. They're making a sequel to the first Grounded, a survival kind of RPG, I guess. Kind of not surprised they're making a sequel to this. The first one was a huge success for them, and actually a really big success for the Xbox game preview. That's what they call their early access program. Is a big success for their game preview program. So they're doing the same thing again. July 29th of this year, Grounded 2 will be in game preview, and they'll be kind of working on it from there. So that'll be cool. I know Moon over on TVGP played a lot of this and really loved it. This isn't really my genre, unless it's a car from the 70s that you're fixing up for some reason. So that probably won't be hearing me play about this, but talk about this. But you can check it out on TVGP at some point. I'm still not entirely sure if this is a RPG or not either, because there hasn't been a ton of information about this. At Fate's End, coming next year from the Spiritfarer team. This sort of looks like kind of choice-based story brawler, 2D side-scrolling card thing. I'm there's a lot of interesting stuff here in the trailer of like you're doing a bunch of cool kind of like 2D side-scrolling hack and slash stuff, but every once in a while you're pulling up a deck of cards and you're playing them to do stuff in a battle, and then you're like making a bunch of choices in a big decision tree, and then at the end of the trailer you like parry a sword from a giant mountain dude that's 50 stories tall. So like, man, I don't know. But Spiritfarer was incredible and heartbreaking, and I'm
Yeah.
really curious to see what they're going to do next. So, again, not entirely sure if this is an RPG, but certainly feels like something we would talk about on this show either way. So, that's called At Fate's End, coming some point next year. I don't think they have a more I don't think they have a more detailed release date at the moment, but definitely keeping an eye on that one. Uh, the shortest trailer we got at the show, Persona 4 Revival. No release window, no even hint of a year it's coming. This feels very much like a shut up trailer of like, yes, every voice actor that was originally worked on the original game that we have not asked back yet, if at all. They've been talking nonstop about it. Yes, we're actually working on it. It's the worst kept secret. We're doing a Persona 4 remake. And that's... We got a little bit of running around town. And that was it. So I think this is not a surprise at all, for a whole bunch of reasons. It's been rumored for quite a while. So I got great news. If you're tired of playing Persona 5, you can play Persona 4 for the third time.
I I feel so bad because I feel like I should be excited about this, but I think I'm just I you know I think I'm reaching just a curmudgeonly point of just Atlas Persona 6 or shut up.
Right. And like, it's another thing too of like, I I I I have a hard time remembering how old Persona 4 is, that was a PS2 game. Because I kind of always think of the Vita game and like the port they did to modern platforms of the Vita game. So I kind of think of Golden as the thing that came out first, but no, it's a PS2 game. So I think from like an accessibility standpoint, I could understand them sort of wanting to redo this, but like Persona 4 Golden is still a great game that is Persona 4. So like I'm also at the point of like, all right, I could see you doing that for 3. 3 definitely needed like a quality of life kind of improvement. Um and 5 with Royal, they added a whole bunch of stuff, but it's like, what are you going to do to 4, cuz Golden felt pretty good, and like just putting it in 3D this time doesn't seem like a kind of slam dunk out of the gate. So,
Yeah, I don't. I'm with you there, man. I don't know what else they can do to this game to make
right.
it better. Like, I think even quality of life wise, like, um, none of the quality of life changes they should make word like justifies the word revival.
Right.
Like, it's you know, in my opinion, they could have just upped the graphics to P4 and then sold it for
Right.
you know
And also like,
30 to $50.
please don't add more to it. The last any
Oh
Persona
dear God,
game
no.
needs is adding more. Like, these are now kind of famous or infamous, depending on which side you're on, of just being like, all right, a new Persona game came out. Like, you're tucking in for at least 150 hours to maybe see the true ending. Like, these games are just chock full of stuff, which is great. But like, Persona 4 was already full of stuff. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
There's a lot of man. I still like each game has this issue, and I think I've talked about it before. Like they need to get rid of the repetitive text. Like you could
Mm,
cut off a solid 10 hours off every Persona game
yeah.
if they just got rid of the repetitive. Here, we just explain the game mechanic to you. Now all the characters are going to re-talk about the game mechanic.
Right.
Just just do one.
Well,
Don't do both of them.
if there's anything, I think that Persona 4, Persona 3, 4, and 5 are kind of, again, famous or infamous for having incredibly extended intros. I think 4, for my money, feels the most painful out of all of them. Because 4's
Oh yeah.
intro, especially because you're spending a lot of time with just Teddy, and I love Teddy, but that dude only has so much.
Yeah.
A little goes a long way. So I feel like if you can trim up a lot of that stuff and still leave the mystery, but kind of get some of that stuff a little bit smoother, I think that would help Persona 4 a lot. So we'll see. I mean, I'm going to keep a close eye on it because I'm really curious about what the hell this is going to be. And at this point, I don't really know. So
Yeah.
check future episodes for whatever this thing is going to be, I guess. Um,
God, okay. One last
sure.
comment. I know they're not going to change the story,
Hmm.
but there's no way the end to Kanji's story or
Naoto.
I just forgot their name. Yeah,
Yeah.
Naoto like works in a modern day context.
Yeah, like Persona 3, I don't remember being super bad about it, but Persona 4 and Persona 5 definitely have the kind of like old school. I'm going to piss somebody off with this, and I sort of apologize. It has the old school kind of Japanese developed homophobia and transphobia in it. 5 has much less of it, but there's still kind of a like traditional like quote unquote cross-dressing guy with like a dressed as a woman with like a 5 o'clock shadow being like, hey, what's up, boys? And it's like, you can't Persona 5 is like too modern for you to be doing that. Persona 4, you're right, with Kanji and Naoto's storylines were even on the PS2 is sort of like, this is I understand the character struggling with this, but this is maybe not the gentlest of touches here. And
Yeah. Well, it's Persona 4 is especially crazy because those stories are correct until they reach their conclusion. You're
sure,
like,
yeah, like I'm finding a way to be comfortable with myself as I truly am. That's great.
yeah,
Like that is something that everybody should strive towards. But the way they handle is sort of like, especially kanjis, where it's like, oh boy,
yeah,
okay, sure, that's yeah, that's a caricature for sure. So
yeah.
yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that whole thing is dealt with a little bit more delicately, I'd hope. Last two games here, real quick. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. Reminder, that's the base remake game plus the Yuffie DLC. Coming this winter to series consoles, which is great. If you haven't played Remake before, it's really good. If you want to play Remake and you haven't played the original, again, you should do that first. Don't forget the original on modern consoles has all of the like God mode and infinite money and all that. So you can blow through that game pretty quick. And you should
How did how is that not already out for Xbox?
sort of frustratingly, Square Enix was always like, Xbox. I don't understand. Is that a PC? It's on PC, and we're like, no, that's nope. You're kind of so it was very clearly like we had a deal with Sony and we just weren't going to talk about it, but felt like that deal stretched on for a very long time. So
I mean, that's like a 5-year-old game at this
yes,
point.
it's pretty up there. Yeah, they developed a whole sequel and it came out in the time. So like,
Yeah.
and
Jeez.
there's unfortunately there's no mention in here of Rebirth is the second one. There's no mention of Rebirth. I was hoping they'd be like, it's coming this winter, and then Rebirth comes, winter of 2026. I don't. Hopefully, we won't have to wait a whole another couple of years for that one. But go play Remake. It's great. it's really, both of them are really good. Rebirth, another very long RPG, but both of them are really quite good. And then, like we talked about in releases, Final Fantasy 16 is available right now on series consoles. And that was it for Not E3, the kind of RPG highlights here. Got through all of it without losing my voice, even though something is still stuck in my throat. Just can't get it out of there, man. All right, that's our episode. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to visit us, pickingupthepixels.com, everywhere to find and follow us on the right-hand side of the page. Musum, where can we find you online?
So you can find me at my Linktree, linktr.ee/John Musum, and be sure and check out my new musical release, Best Wishes.
Yep. At musum.bandcamp.com, correct?
Yes.
There you go. You can find my stuff campsite.bio/Jansten, Jansten. It's got all the links over there to everything. Check out TVGP, tvgp.tv. Don't forget to sign up for the Patreon, e1m1.cash. Mood would want me to tell you the ones are the numbers. Go support the show over there. $5 a month gets you everything. Anything above and beyond that is for your rich friends only. Tell them it's like $500 a month, and tell them it's just we just there's a bug and we forgot a couple zeros. I think that's it. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We do greatly appreciate you listening each and every month, and we hope we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.